their gut and their consciousness in their body, not in their heads, right? And this is an interesting idea because that's kind of like where intuition, the voice of reason, consciousness, maybe God, people's identifications of God, hearing God or visualizing God. This is where all that comes from. Can we just dig a little bit deeper? Because I find it really great that obviously I know that there's, science that supports all these things.
Sure. So we receive approximately 11 million bits of data a second. Sight, sound, smell, taste, touch, intuition, 11 million bits of data. The science on how much hits our consciousness varies a little bit. Some scientists say 127 of those 11 million bits. Some say 134 of those 11 million bits. It doesn't really make a difference. The reality is not very much of that data can get into our consciousness at any one time. All of that other data is stored. So think of it this way. If you live in the city, you don't hear the noise most of the time. When you go out into the country, you hear the silence.
Yes.
People who live in the country don't hear the silence. But boy, do they get a headache when they go into the city. That's sort of a gross example of how our filters work. So meditating helps you change those filters. I sometimes work with my clients with a process called gremlins to gurus. That story I'm telling myself that I'm an imposter. I want to believe that I am capable and competent. So the gremlin is the imposter. We're going to call him George. And the competent me is Charlie. The first thing I need to do is become aware of that gremlin being triggered, because again, that gremlin lives in our unconscious. It's triggered when my boss puts me on the spot. It's triggered when my boss puts me on the spot. My boss just triggered me again. I can call on Charlie and not let George out this time. And as I call on Charlie, I'm changing my story. And eventually that trigger automatically brings out my competence rather than my self-doubt. I have not changed. I'm still the same me. I'm developing more skill in this new role, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But at my core, still me. But my story has changed, and how I show up is changed.